You know, we often think about aging in terms of what we can see, right? The lines on our face, a few gray hairs popping up. But what if I told you that the most important aging, the kind that really matters, is happening completely out of sight? In this explainer, we're going to dig into a really surprising connection, something you might not expect, how the simple act of eating too much could actually be making your body, well, older, and a whole lot faster than it should be.
Does this sound familiar to you at all? That feeling that you just don't have the energy you used to. You catch your reflection and you see a young person looking back, but your body is telling you a totally different story. It's that deep down fatigue that coffee can't seem to fix. Or maybe you notice the stairs feel just a little bit steeper than they did last year. It is so easy to just brush it off, you know? Oh, I'm just tired, or I had a long week. But what if it's a quiet signal of something much bigger happening on the inside?
So let's go ahead and give this feeling a proper name. We're about to dive into what's going on deep inside our bodies, a process we're calling the invisible aging. It's the kind of aging that you can't see in the mirror, but you can absolutely feel it every single day. Now, the technical term for this is early sarcopenia. Sarcopenia itself, that gradual loss of muscle and strength, has always been considered a normal part of getting older. You know, something that happens in our 60s, 70s, and beyond. But here's the really alarming part. And this is what we're focused on today. It is now showing up in people in their 30s, and believe it or not, even in their 20s. It's like a quiet erosion of your body's very foundation. Your muscles are just slowly disappearing without you even realizing it.
And here is the big twist. Your first thought is probably the same as mine was. Okay, I guess I'm just not hitting the gym enough. And sure, exercise is important, but the evidence points to a much bigger, and honestly, a much more surprising culprit. The main thing driving this invisible aging isn't a lack of movement, it's an excess of food. To put it simply, it's overeating.
So let's take a second here, because how can eating more actually make you weaker? It just seems to go against everything we think we know. In this next part, we're going to explore this surprising saboteur. We'll break down exactly how having more food on your plate can lead to having less strength in your body. You see, this goes way beyond just gaining a few pounds. Overeating unleashes what you could call a trifecta of damage inside your body. Think of it like a three-pronged attack that's aimed directly at your muscles and your metabolism. So let's break down each of these three problems one by one. First up, we have high insulin. Okay, so every time you eat, your body releases a hormone called insulin to help manage all that incoming energy. That's normal. But when we're eating or snacking all the time, our insulin levels are constantly high. They never get a break. This basically flips a giant fat storage switch into the on position, and it gets stuck there. Your body becomes incredibly good at storing energy as fat, but it gets really bad at doing other things like maintaining and building your precious muscle.
The second problem is something called chronic inflammation. Now, excess body fat isn't just inactive weight that sits there. It's actually metabolically active tissue, and it's constantly pumping out these low-level inflammatory signals. This creates a kind of background noise or static throughout your entire body. So when your muscles need to get the signal to repair and rebuild, that signal gets drowned out by all the inflammatory static. They just can't hear the instructions clearly anymore.
And the third part of this damaging trifecta is tired mitochondria. You can think of mitochondria as these thousands of tiny little energy factories inside each of your cells. When you overeat, you're essentially forcing these factories to run 24/7, way over capacity, just trying to process all the fuel you're sending them. Eventually, just like any overworked factory, they get burned out and become inefficient. And when that happens, there's a lot less energy left over for other vital jobs, like, you guessed it, growing and repairing your muscles. Okay, so this is where things get really tricky. These three big problems, the high insulin, the chronic inflammation, and the tired mitochondria, they don't just exist next to each other. No, they're actually interconnected. They feed into each other, creating this powerful, self-perpetuating loop. It's a metabolic downward spiral that can be really tough to get out of. Let's just walk through this vicious cycle together, step by step, so you can see how it works. It starts, of course, with overeating. That spikes your insulin and tells your body to store fat. Then, all that processing makes your energy factories, your mitochondria, get exhausted. And what happens when your cells are tired? You feel tired. So your brain, looking for a quick fix, sends out powerful cravings for sugar and simple carbs. And that, of course, leads you to eat again, starting the entire destructive loop all over. And each time, it just gets a little bit stronger. And the fallout from this cycle isn't just about feeling tired. This has really serious long-term consequences. As you lose that vital muscle mass, your metabolism, your body's engine,
actually slows down, which of course makes it even easier to gain weight. Your entire hormone balance gets thrown out of whack. And get this, your muscles are crucial for stimulating your brain. So as you lose muscle, it can actually contribute to that feeling of brain fog, lower focus, and even a lower mood.
Okay, I know that all sounds pretty grim, but please don't lose hope, because the really good news is that this cycle is not a life sentence. It is absolutely possible to break free and hit a big reset button on your entire metabolism. So let's talk about how to do that, because the solution is actually much, much simpler than you might think.
To get there, we need a fundamental shift in how we think about our health. For decades, the conversation has always been about what you eat, hasn't it? Low fat, low carb, keto, paleo, the list goes on. But the real key, the thing that can truly break this damaging cycle, isn't about the what. It's about shifting our focus entirely to when you don't eat.
And the most effective way to do this is to simply create dedicated periods of time without eating. You've almost certainly heard of this. It's known as intermittent fasting. But please, don't let that word fasting scare you off. This has nothing to do with starving yourself or deprivation. It is all about giving your metabolism a simple, well-deserved rest.
Now, when you give your body this break, 3 incredible things happen that directly fight back against all the damage we've been talking about. First, it finally allows your insulin levels to drop, which flips off that fat storage switch and lets your body start burning its own fat for fuel. Second, it activates a deep cellular cleanup process called autophagy, where your body goes in and removes old, damaged, junky cells. And third, it naturally boosts growth hormone, which is absolutely critical for repairing and rebuilding that precious muscle tissue.
And I really want to emphasize this point one more time. The goal here is not starvation. It's about creating a simple, natural rhythm of eating and then not eating. You're just giving your body the downtime it desperately needs to rest, to repair, and to recover from the non-stop job of digesting food. It's like letting your engine cool down and get an oil change.
So what is the big takeaway here? What's the one thing to remember? It might just be this provocative idea. Maybe your first step isn't some complicated new diet or an intense workout plan. Maybe it's just about changing your relationship with the feeling of hunger. Instead of seeing it as an emergency signal that you need to silence with food immediately, what if you started to see it as a positive sign? A sign that your body is finally getting a chance to clean house, to repair itself, and to hit that reset button. What if we could learn to actually enjoy a little hunger, knowing that it's the feeling of our bodies getting younger from the inside out?